For this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about Gradebook in Canvas and all the things that you can do with Gradebook, especially once you start getting several grades in there. To access the Gradebook, you're going to come over here to the left on the navigation pane and click on Grades. And this is a gradebook for the class that completed last semester. So I have lots of student grades in there. Although I can't change some of the settings because the class is ended, you get to see a lot of them. So while this is loading. So what you see here is this is the gradebook for a class that has completed. I get to see all of my assignments here. I get to see my students and the grades that they made, big spreadsheet, everything here. I wanted to show you some of the settings. So you might see some color coding within the gradebook. The colors all mean certain things. We'll get to that in a minute, but Canvas will automatically flag certain grades when certain conditions are met. For example, everything in blue was turned in late. Anything in red was not submitted. Lots of settings that you can change to automate a lot of those processes for you. Couple of things you want to look at is you have a couple of different views for the gradebook. So if you click here on Gradebook, what we're looking at now is the traditional gradebook. Assignments, grades on those assignments as we go. Learning Mastery Gradebook is another format you could use if you use outcomes, which are basically if you import state standards or if you create your own standards, you can tag certain assignments with those standards and track and see how are the kids performing on those tagged assignments. So there's a whole separate gradebook you can use for that if you want to get into that later. If you're looking for more information, look for some more information on outcomes in Canvas. Individual gradebook will let you kind of download how the gradebook is looking at each time. And gradebook history, this is an interesting one. It will also tell you when something was graded, who you graded, and if that grade changed. For example, this student and this student, I noticed I had missed something or I had changed something, and I went back and I edited their grades. For this student, I reassessed one particular section, and for this student, I had accidentally missed one section in their grading. So I went back and edited their grades, and I can see a whole history of all my grades for the semester, when I did your work, when I did your grading, and when it was finished. You can search through there. That's kind of a neat feature. But on the traditional gradebook, so we have each of these students and all of their work. You don't have to click into the whole assignment to edit a grade. Let's say a student did some extra credit and I wanted to add some extra credit to their assignment. I can click on the thing itself, and if this was an active class, a text box would pop up and I would be able to enter in a grade and also change some of the settings. Like I could change it from late submission to regular submission, or I could exempt a student from maybe having done that assignment. Maybe this student was absent this day, there's a 0 here. And so maybe I exempt them from that 0, or I can drop their lowest grade or things like that. If this was an active class, clicking here would pull up a little menu box to the side and I would be able to make those edits. I can also search for particular students. I can filter by just them, so it changes my view. I don't get mixed up and look at the wrong line looking at a particular student. Clicking this little X will clear them from the filter. I can pull up a couple. Maybe there's 2 students and I'm not sure if they worked with each other or not. I can pull them up together and compare their grades across time. I can also search for particular assignments. So let's look at 1984. It filters just to the ones who read the 1984 book. And I can pull up more than one thing at a time. So if I want to pull up all their 1984 quizzes and look at just those, these are some really good filters that you can use to see how they're doing on particular grades. You've also got up here a couple of options to sync your grades. If you have your options turned on to where you can sync your Canvas gradebook with your PowerSchool or your regular gradebook, clicking this button tells Canvas to send all of your grades to the PowerSchool gradebook, and it will update them for you. So you don't have to type in all those grades into PowerSchool. Once you have this option set up, all you have to do is come to Gradebook and hit sync, and it will export all of those grades straight to PowerSchool for you, so you don't have to enter them in manually. It will also keep all these tags, so tags like missing or tags late, it will mark them for you in PowerSchool for parents to see as well. You also have a couple of settings here. These are some settings I really like, particularly the late policies. So in my class, if once an assignment is late, I'll automatically put in a 0 to remind you, hey, look at the impact this is having on your grade. You need to make this up within the arranged time. So I have automatically apply a grade for missing submissions. I have it turned on with a grade setting of 0. Some people prefer to put in a 50 for anything that you're missing. You can't make lower than a 50. You can type whatever you want here. So anything where the due date passes, as soon as the due date passes, Canvas will automatically put in this grade for any missing submissions if you have this box checked for it to do that. If you don't check the box, it will just leave the grade blank and it will not have any impact on the student's grade once that deadline passes. You can also automatically apply a deduction for late submissions. Maybe your class policy is that you will take late work, but you take off 5 points per day. You can check this box, have a 5-point deduction every day. You can change it to week. You can change it to whatever you want. And you can also set a lowest possible grade. So maybe it won't get any lower than a 50 or a 40 or whatever your class policy is. All of this, once you put it in at the beginning of the semester, it will do it for you for the rest of the class. So you don't have to worry about keeping up with it. I know sometimes I forget to go back in and check, hey, when did you submit this piece of late work? Go back and do the deduction. This will do it for you. You also have a grade posting policy. Um, Automatic posting of grades is the default setting on Canvas, which means as soon as you grade something, it sends the student a notification and says, hey, here is your grade has been updated, you can check it, you can see it, it's done. Sometimes it takes me a little longer, especially if I'm grading a large assignment and I don't necessarily want some of the kids to see their grades and some of the kids have to wait. I like to wait and release all of the grades at the same time. So I have my setting turned to manual, which means that as soon as I type in a grade, that grade is hidden from the student until I am ready for them to see it. I can turn on their visibility by posting the grades once I'm finished. Let's see if I can see that setting here with the finished class. No, you can't. But if you pick an assignment and you look on the three little dots here on the side, one of the options here on an active class grade, if the grades are hidden, it will say post grades. And once you hit that button, it takes a second to load. Then it releases that grade to the student, and they are able to see what they scored on that assignment. You can also hide the grades for an assignment. So maybe you released it too early, you weren't ready for them to see it yet, or you need to take it back and fix some grading, whatever it happened to be. You can post and hide. You can also post grades only for certain sections and come back and post later for everyone. It's pretty customizable. And you can also hide and post from inside SpeedGrader, which is the grading portion of Canvas. You also have some visibility options. So how do you want your gradebook arranged? Mine currently is set from the oldest assignments here on the left all the way out. The further you go, the newer and newer they get. You've got lots of options there. What are things worth? Which module are they from? If you want to sort alphabetically the names of your assignments, you can organize this just for you. This is how you see it. You can set what shows. Sometimes you have created an assignment, but you haven't published it for the kids to see it yet. If you want to take those out of the gradebook so that it's not so cluttered, you can hide your unpublished assignments. Also, at the end, you will have group totals and total columns on your assignments. That just kind of lets you know, especially if you have categories, how well are your kids doing in each category. So I have classwork, tests, an independent reading project, and some quizzes. You can see how well they do in each category, and because each category is weighted, it has a differing impact on the total grade. This little I logo with a slash through it just means that the student did some work on an assignment that isn't posted yet. So they're not able to see their final and complete score until I post all those grades. Going back to the settings, you can also change status colors. These are kind of the defaults. So for example, you see this grade here is a 0, it's tagged in red. Red means missing. They never turned in that final Pride and Prejudice quiz, or they never took it. So they automatically got a 0 and it's flagged as missing. Whenever I sync these grades over to the PowerSchool gradebook, they will see a 0 in PowerSchool as well as a little missing flag on that assignment. Students can sometimes turn things in more than once. They can resubmit. Maybe they took a quiz multiple times. Those will be flagged in all these different colors, and you can change these colors as well to whatever you want them to be. So there's lots of options here for how to look at things in Canvas. One thing on assignments that I particularly like is, number one, you can pull up a specific assignment and then go to its speed grader. You can go, if I right click on here, open it in a new tab. I can open that specific assignment and show, I can open that specific assignment and show the speed grader option of what's going on with those students. But the message students, this is my favorite here. So you have the option of messaging students who either have submitted the assignment, they've not submitted it yet, as in it's still empty, they still got a 0. I can message students that haven't been graded yet, be like, hey, sorry guys, be patient with me, I just need one more day. Students who score more than a certain grade, I can say things like, hey, you're doing a really good job, congratulations, you've mastered this. Or I can send the score to anyone who's beneath a certain score, and I can say, hey, I suggest you do X, Y, and Z to review for the next assignment. You can send lots of messages directly through the gradebook. You don't have to necessarily create an announcement or set up an email. You can set those assignments, you can set those messages to go to just the students, or sometimes if they have paired observers like parents, you can send that message to CC them as well. And you can just type out your whole email, you can add attachments, and send it directly to those students within just for this assignment. So it kind of sets up the assignment for you. It's really nice. You can filter, you can scroll through. If you have lots of assignments, sometimes some students are assigned things, sometimes students are not. For example, these students picked different books to read. This is the icon you see when something has not yet been graded. I ended up dropping this particular assignment. It was based on a movie that we watched. I ended up dropping this assignment and not grading it, just due to various things going on in the class at the time. But in your gradebook, you will see this icon which says something has been submitted, but it has not yet been graded. So Canvas will definitely give you lots of icons, lots of flags. It's very organized and able to sort through all this kind of stuff for you. You have lots of options, and again, once you hit sync, all of this will go into PowerSchool for you, and you will not have to retype the grades over and over and over again.